One question that bugged me for a very long time is, why do these people protest? Why are they wasting their time on the streets protesting for Gaza incessantly? Through period of months, going out and protesting for people that they really don't know, and people that chant death to them. So check out this clip of Konstantin Kisin, 2 clips of him on the street asking these protesters. It gets pretty interesting. Check it out.
You gave me this, and it shows some interesting things that I hadn't heard before, about what the Prophet Muhammad said about equality and about women and so on. And I was interested particularly the last one about terrorism. And it says that terrorism in the Quran, killing of innocent is compared to killing the whole world, all of mankind. Can you tell us more about that?
So in essence, Islam does not allow the killing of innocents under any circumstances. In battlefield, in Surah 9 verse 5, often misquoted by Islamophobes to somehow stipulate that Islam allows the killing of innocents, when it doesn't. It's only when you are in a battlefield and your enemy is coming to you, then in self-defense you have to fight back, which is a given in any form of...
Yeah, well, in war you would accept that, of course. October 7th, was that a terrorist attack in your opinion?
So October 7th, these are many responses given to that. I mean, we have to go back to 1917, 1948, 1967. Yeah. The intricate involvement of the historical events which have led up to these these events that have occurred. So it's just a frustration and overboiling.
But you said it's forbidden to kill innocents.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, it's forbidden to kill innocents.
But they did, right?
Well, that is what an understanding is given. There are different understandings. There is.
Oh, really? Well, what's your understanding?
Well, no, different from other sources that I've read. Some people are of the opinion that factions of Hamas are in with the Israelis, giving them the pretext to do their acts. Others. Well, I'm just.
Well, I'm just giving you a thing. You're giving your view. I'm giving my view.
Well, let him finish, and I'll talk to you. Yes. No, stick around. I want to talk to you as well.
Yeah. Okay. So on that basis, others take the view that it's just reacting to already being aware that, for example, there are natural gas reserves in Gaza, which Israel has become aware of, and through that Red Sea area where trade is taking place, where the Houthis are currently stopping certain shipments going through.
What do you believe? I'm just curious, because
I'm just stating from what you hear. I'm not there, am I? So I can't say for certain what exactly has happened.
But you're not there in Gaza either, but you're saying the genocide is happening, right?
But that's very clear for all of us to see. The actual bombings taking place and the death and destruction.
But 7th of October wasn't clear.
No, that was absolutely clear as well. But we can't be certain forever as to who done these acts. You see, although Hamas can make unilateral claims, that is just based upon certain factions. There are factions within them who said we had nothing to do with it.
I'm a Hindu.
So based upon his logic, I could say, well, it's not Israel committing the bombing. It's Russia. It's actually China. You don't know that it's us. Oh my God. What is like? Oh, we don't know that Hamas committed October 7th. We don't know. They live streamed it. GoPros, all the cameras were there, but it might have been Israeli soldiers that dressed up as Hamas. You ever thought about that? These people are not ignorant. They are purposefully pretending to be ignorant in order to avoid condemning Hamas because they support Hamas.
I'm practicing. I do support Israel on this. You've got a right to defend. I see all the channels. I listen to people. They're delusional. Unfortunately, people have a right to respond. There are only 50 million Jews in the world, There are 2 billion Muslims. What is a ratio, dude, mate? There's a lot of bullshit going on,
Very interesting point. And are you here for the protest?
I'm here for the protest to see what's going on. I've heard there's a lot of Hamas supporters here.
Who did you hear that from?
Oh, I've heard it from a lot of YouTube apostate channels. They come here, infiltrate. I want to see if it's true or not, you see. Yeah? Look, I'm a Hindu. A Hindu temple was attacked last week by a Muslim guy in Wembley. We're a very peaceful, successful community, far more than the Muslims, yeah? You've got Prime Minister's fucking Hindu, mate. So we don't get involved. Only people like me will get involved if I feel that we're being attacked as well. The Jews are attacked.
Do you feel that Hindus are being attacked in the UK?
We are now, because they're afraid of. They're not afraid of us. They're jealous of us, of our success. We don't have any. It's like there are 10,000 Muslims in prison. People are aware of this. Go and Google it. It's all there. Pedos, rapists, terrorists. There's only 0.4% of Hindus in prison for minor crimes like tax evasion. You know, we're not an aggressive species unless we're pushed.
Have you been here before to these protests in the past? And what did you see? What did you experience?
Well, I've been to a couple now, and they're very well policed, but I do not see any police here. That's what worries me.
Yeah.
Where are the police? Can you see anybody? I'm sure
no.
There's a lot of undercover ones here. Look at what's going on here. You know, I could be one. You never know. Yeah. Man, I don't watch you much, but I do follow you guys.
Why not?
I like.
What do you mean you don't watch us much?
I like
Mate, I know your channel. I don't listen to it very much.
I'll try to listen again, mate. I will
Yeah,
listen.
yeah.
Put it on, mate.
Excuse me, mate.
Put
We
it
work
on. I'll
hard.
distribute it.
I've been to every march for Palestine, well, this round anyway. Same as everyone else, don't agree with genocide.
From speaking to protesters at the March Against Antisemitism, they feel that Israel was attacked, and so it's going to respond. And when you have people hiding in among buildings in densely populated areas, you are going to get a lot of civilian casualties, but it's because Israel is having to make sure there's no terrorist threat on its border. That's what they would say.
Well, they would say that, wouldn't they? I mean,
What would you say?
I would say that anybody who was engaged in genocide, that wanted to kill people, wanted to kill as many civilians as they could, would use an excuse like that. That's what I would say.
So would you say that Israel is deliberately targeting civilians?
I have a speaker,
You have a speaker?
I have a microphone,
Yeah.
I have lots of Palestinian activists,
Seems that the audio is a little off with the video. Apologize for that.
if you can call them that.
Can you give us one?
Yeah.
Go for it. Let's do it.
We see ourselves as one big family. This whole world's a family.
Yeah.
We don't care for each other. We don't have. We lose that humanistic nature, then everything's gone. Everything's lost. So we're here grieving for our brothers and sisters who are losing, who are suffering, and we're here just to show our support.
Are you Sikh?
Yes,
Is that, yeah. It's interesting because we met a Hindu guy here who was completely very pro-Israel, but you guys clearly on the side of the Palestinians, I'm guessing.
We're here for where there's injustice, you will find Sikhs. So where you find people who are downtrodden, it doesn't matter where they're from, what community they're from. We're for the poor, we're for all. We believe in the oneness in everybody. So we will not see any difference in anybody, but where someone is being downtrodden, with the Sikhs will stand with them.
We need a ceasefire right now, don't we?
Yeah.
So what else would I be here for?
And how will that happen?
Bear in mind, this is not recent. This is right, I think, after October 7th, around that time. And she's already calling for a ceasefire. These are like October 8th, October 9th type protests, somewhere around there. Like, this isn't, now. This isn't, we need a ceasefire now. No, this is October, a few days after October 7th. These people are already protesting against Israel.
I was just going to ask you what a socialist intifada would look like. You don't want to talk to us, fair enough. No one wants to tell us what a socialist intifada is. It's very annoying.
What's your name?
My name is Konstantin. What's yours?
Is it Konstantin Kisin?
Yes.
I'm quite busy at the
You're in the
moment.
middle? Okay, no worries.
Hi, have I seen you on GB News?
I haven't been on GB News for like a year, but you might have done, yeah.
Oh, well,
I mean, I also speak on the BBC
During the
and
COVID
IT.
wars.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was on your side. in the
Oh,
COVID
okay.
wars.
Tell us about the Workers' Party and why you're here.
We're here to show solidarity with the people of Palestine and with the people of Yemen who are just being bombed.
What brings you here today?
There's a reason why, Israel, the reason why they're killing kids, and since October, how many kids has died because of Israel.
Can I ask why you all have your faces covered? I'm just curious.
No, we're just having a face cold. It was cold.
It's cold?
Yeah, it's cold.
Okay.
Shall I open if you want?
Say again?
I'll open if you want.
Oh, no, I'm just asking. That's all. And have you been to these protests before? Do you come regularly?
The reason why we're here is because Israel is killing and murdering kids, and we need the world to wake up. Wake up, guys!
And why do you think Israel is doing this?
Because they want land. I feel like they want land.
They want land. So I see you've got a sign that says journalism that get paid for selling lies, and I'm guessing that's Piers Morgan, right?
Yes.
Okay. And on the right, journalism that pays the price for telling the truth. Who's that?
They want land. Israel wants land. Then why did they leave Gaza in 2005?
Wael al-Dahdoh.
And who is he?
He is the man of truth, man of bravery. He is the one who sacrificed all his family for the cause of Gaza and did not move out of Gaza, insisted to be there.
Why do you say that this is journalism that's selling lies?
It's very obvious what is going on, all the lies about what happened on the October 7th, the justification for the genocide, they're all based on lies.
When you say lies about October 7th, what do you mean?
All those allegations that we never saw any footages of decapitated children that Piers Morgan always asked about, and all those women that got gang raped. In contrast, we saw so many hostages freed. They were talking about the good treatment they had during their captivity.
Well, we've got two sides here.
Oh, the good treatment that they had. These people, anybody that says that the Israeli hostages were treated well in captivity, really, they deserve a special kind of hell, because that is just so incredibly evil to say that. That's not ignorance, that's evil.
First of all, to make it clear, it's not a war, it's a genocide, and that Israel's state is a key part of the World Economic Forum. They completely work together.
So it's just the Jews. It's the Jews, and that's what it is. All right, let's watch this last woman. I'm sure he's going to be bored.
Its own people in order to make it look like Hamas had killed people.
I strongly believe that we are coming away from this mainstream media, the BBC, the CNN. You've got all of these who don't.
It's interesting because I think the pro-Palestine and pro-Israel side, sorry about that, pro-Hamas and pro-Israel side, both believe that the mainstream media is a problem. They both see the mainstream media as this foreign entity that really hates them, because I see mainstream media as this basically anti-Israel machine, whether it's the BBC, the CNN, all these pro-Hamas media publications in my book, or at least Hamas apologist. Let's watch one more protest. This is a little shorter, but equally shocking, of Konstantin Kisin as well.
Did you hear to the protest?
I've just come here to show solidarity with the Palestinian people, because they're having such a terrible time in Gaza, and they're being slaughtered, and their children are being slaughtered, and their homes are being destroyed, and things could be different. That part of the world could be living in peace and democracy, and instead we're having this bloody great war. And I came here to show solidarity, and now I find that the police around here are starting trouble by arresting young people with placards.
What are they arresting them for?
They've arrested one young person, they've arrested in there, and he's been there since I got here, which is about nearly an hour, and they won't let him go. And he's got something written on his placard which says, Zionism is like Nazism, something like that. That's a second-hand comment. I didn't see it. Somebody told me that's what he'd written.
And you mentioned you think that...
You don't arrest people for that. You don't arrest people for that. You might argue with them. You might say, are you sure that's true? He's a young person. He's maybe made a mistake. But honestly, this is not good policing. I've seen good policing on all the other demonstrations I've been on to support Palestine. I've seen good policing. This is terrible. They've stirred up a riot. Maybe that's what they wanted.
You said that part of the world would be living in peace and democracy. Could be. What would need to happen for that to happen?
If we didn't have a racist state in Israel, if Israel was run as a totally equal democracy, and all Palestinians and all the people in that part of the world could live under an equal rights government, then we wouldn't have this situation.
The longer it goes on, the more important I think it is for people to show support, because numbers drop off. The way that it's being handled by people in power does need challenging. And clearly there's
who do you mean when you say people in power?
I mean the governments.
Of which country? This country?
This country. It's too hard to sum up briefly.
And what would you like to see happen now?
Change. First of all, the ceasefire. That's primarily save lives, and then a two-state solution, I guess, probably.
Two-state solution, yeah.
Probably.
I came here today because I'm concerned about the terrorism of the Israeli state in invading Gaza, and 198 people have been killed since the ceasefire has ended. Innocent, unarmed Palestinians, and more or less to call for a ceasefire, a permanent ceasefire.
What do you say to people who say there was a ceasefire before October 7th and this is why there's the fighting now?
Yeah, well, sometimes ceasefires break down. I was involved myself when the first Irish ceasefire broke down in January 1975. I was involved myself in talks between the IRA and the British government in order to get the ceasefire resumed.
Oh, wow.
I'm chairman of the Irish Civil Rights Association. I had stood for Parliament here in October 1974. I led 7 candidates for the Irish Civil Rights Association. And because I had taken part in the democratic process, I was able to make a phone call to the IRA and to the British government, and I just simply asked them, would a representative of each of them meet with a view to getting the ceasefire resumed?
I want a ceasefire, and I want the lifting of the siege now. There are many, many thousands of people living in very, very small area. They have got no army, they have got no navy, they have got no air force. Now they have hardly any health care at all because it's been bombed to smithereens. And they are like fish in a fish bowl being shot at.
And how do you think we get peace now?
We get peace by the United Nations, which is the only organization that is worldwide, pulling together all the Arab nations around there who are, excuse my language, halfway up the US arse, to come out of that, to have the sort of sympathy that I have got for the human life that is being destroyed in front of our eyes.
Before the attack on October 7th on Israel,
Yes.
in which 1,200
Yeah.
civilians were killed, people would argue that was a ceasefire that was broken by Hamas. What would you say to those people?
Well, I would say to those people that Gaza was still under siege. It was still, the people of Gaza were completely controlled by the Israeli government, as we've seen, because
This is a point that I think is very important to point out. We are hated regardless. Jews, Israelis, if you're listening, they're gonna hate us. She claimed it. She said they've always been under siege. We left Gaza in 2005. Somehow these people don't know that. So we are always going to be blamed. We are always going to be, and that is why we have to just do what needs to be done. We have to look after our own interests and forget about this craziness of, listening to the international community. They always hated us. They always claimed that we were committing ethnic cleansing and genocide. I mean, we could be giving the Gazans, $1 million a year per person, and they would claim that we're somehow oppressing them. It's just the way it works.
as soon as it happened, the water was cut off, food was cut off, everything was cut off. They were only allowed, at that time, so many calories a day, controlled by the Israelis.
Well, sure. Quickly, who are you from first?
We're an independent YouTube channel. We go to protests and film documentaries about it.
Independent, okay.
Yeah, okay. I take you're suspicious of mainstream TV or?
Oh, yeah. I call it right-wing TV, man.
Right-wing TV?
Nah, they'll cut and edit any and everything you say and just try to paint a bad picture of you.
Okay.
And if you keep everything clean, then they just won't air it anyway, so.
Which channels are you talking about?
Let's say on Freeview, all of them except for Al Jazeera. And above Al Jazeera, the GB News and Talk TV, they're even more right-wing than, say, like the BBC and the Zionist Sky News, for example.
You think Sky News is right-wing and Zionist and BBC
Oh,
as well?
definitely. A 14-year-old had a sign that they didn't quite like. The sign said, ceasefire now, children are not collateral damage, and then a very small writing had said, stop Zio-Nazism. But because the word Nazi was in there, they didn't like the sign, so they grabbed the 14-year-old. We had a bit of a standoff, and this gentleman and I helped calm things down on our respective sides.
And what would you like to see happen now with the conflict?
Then just stop the airstrikes on civilians, stop targeting civilian homes, water storage.
Look at that sign right there. It says exist. Sorry, I'll move it like this. Exist, resist, return. So exist, resist, October 7th, and then return, destroy the entire Israeli state. So that's exactly what he wants. He has a sign right there. He's telling you what he wants.
Solar panels, UN schools where civilians are taking shelter. Stop with the airstrikes on civilians. If they really want a war, Fight it out in the streets of Gaza City, where they're being hunted by Al-Qassam brigades, who are destroying hundreds of their tanks and killing thousands of their troops. Fight a real war on the ground, which they can't win.
If you were in charge of Israel on October 8th, what would you do?
Well, you have to do a little investigation. You know what I mean? You can't just automatically look to bomb Gaza into oblivion. You got a hostage crisis. Guess what? You might kill some of your hostages, which is exactly what they've done. They've killed scores of them.
Do you see October 7th as them breaking out against the occupation?
Resistance. Been a long time coming. Retaliation to many previous massacres in the Gaza Strip. They hit every single military base around Gaza within 6 minutes.
This is not self-defense. You know, this is not war. I think they want to kill them all. It's a genocide. It's an extermination of the whole people of Gaza.
And why do you say they want to kill them all?
I think the evidence is there. I think they've already flattened about 60% of the buildings. I think the numbers are about 15,000 now. I'm certain that's a conservative estimate, but the majority of the hospitals have been destroyed. They're not functioning. They're attacking schools. I don't see how Gazans can survive unless there's an immediate ceasefire. If I'm a victim of...
Gazan population has increased since October 7th. It's only gone up. There's no genocide. Only that literally disproves the entire idea of genocide. Because if Israel wanted to commit a genocide, and this is something that you have to understand, Israel could. Israel could carpet bomb. It would be over within 5 minutes. It would be over, and I don't think anybody denies that, but they seem to just sweep it under the rug.
Any kind of assault, that doesn't exempt me from the moral order. Now, the Israelis, as I understand it, they regard the IDF as the most moral army in the world. I mean, that's a sick joke now, because they seem to think that the fact that they were victims of this assault, it exempts them from the moral order. Well, that's not the case. So whatever response you make, you have to do so within... I'm a Catholic. There's a just war theory, which is about using legitimate force and not harming civilians and so on. That applies to everybody.
You feel that they're not respecting that?
Certainly not.
I'm a trauma national expert in the UK, and I think one thing that is important is that actually trauma, the mechanism of trauma in the brain, silence people, silence the voice of people. Genocide is what is happening. And in some ways, I think the Western countries are silencing us, not just the trauma that we're observing and absorbing, but also the governments are doing that. As a doctor, as a physician, it's very hard actually to be in the position of feeling you need to help people when they come to your unit and they traumatize, but at the same time, what are we doing with this kind of colluding in our governments to a major crime that is traumatizing further human beings?
Talking to a lot of people about October 7th as well, I'm guessing the way Israel is responding seems to be a response to the trauma that they suffered as well.
You know, I'm a bit cynical about that. Every human being is been traumatized one way or another. And I don't think you can excuse your behavior on trauma that you've been suffering, inflicting it to others.
What? In the span of 60 seconds, she switched her position. She went from, it's trauma. What they're doing is trauma. It happened, and now they have trauma, and that's why they're doing this. And then she's like, "You can't excuse your behavior just because of trauma." Accountability. Unbelievable. Let me know what you guys think of these protests. I think that they are equally more. The more I'm watching of them, they're becoming more and more ignorant. More of these protests are becoming more and more ignorant. Again, this is before Israel killed a lot more Palestinians / Hamas. This is early on in the war, and they are already so justifying October 7th. Hamas didn't really commit it, or all this other conspiracy nonsense. Again, thank you for watching, and have a good one, and check out our channel memberships to support us. Go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored.